that I've gotten from everybody since all this has happened, and even before that, is crazy. I mean, God's put so many awesome people around me that's got me to where I am today, and yeah, I just feel so blessed to have such an awesome group of people, and I can't say thank you enough to all of you, and to BC Teen Challenge guys for putting this on, and yeah, it's just awesome that we can just look at one example of how God's working, and cool stuff. So, a little bit about me. I grew up in a Christian house. I went to Sunday school, played in sports teams, normal kid stuff. Didn't really get in too much trouble, just kept it pretty low pro. Things are just breezy and stuff, and yeah, it was all good. I stayed out of trouble till roughly about grade 10 or 11, where I started to mess around with drinking. I didn't really like drinking that much because I got sick the first few times I did it, so then I tried weed, and I liked like photography and music and stuff, and I just thought that I had this brilliant mind when I was stoned and just felt the creative juices flowing, and I was just a genius, which obviously wasn't the case, but it was a lie I told myself. And yeah, around here I guess it's not really frowned upon that much as far as the mainstream society, so I didn't think it was that big a deal, just a little pot here and there. It eventually was every day, and that led to experimenting with other drugs. But at the end of grade 12, it was pretty bad. I was doing quite a lot of drugs and partying pretty hard, but it wasn't a daily thing at that point. It was just whenever I was at parties and stuff. So I thought, this is all good, I got everything under control. So yeah, I graduated high school, but somehow I don't remember walking across the stage or any of the events that went along with that, but they told me I had graduated, so plus there. And after high school, I got a job working construction. I could keep up with that. Things are pretty good. Eventually, a couple months after, the winter after I graduated, I had a bad breakup, and things were just kind of really upset about that, and thought I had to get away. The party was getting a little excessive, so my dad suggested I go to Manitoba, and a couple days later I was driving to the promised land with my dad and my little hatchback Civic, and yeah, stayed there for 2 months, and I thought, oh, I've been clean for 2 months. I'm gonna change, man. I got this. Let's go back. So hopped back in the ride. I didn't let God into my heart at that point. I was just not doing drugs, and so in my eyes, it was all good. And so hopped in, started driving back to beautiful British Columbia. I made it to Calgary the first night, and then the next day I was going to drive the remaining way back to Abbotsford. I had to take a detour that went down by Radium, and it was snowing really bad. The Coquihalla, the number 1, was shut down. And so I went down to Radium, and I was driving back up to Golden when my car slid sideways into the oncoming lane of traffic, and it just completely smashed my little hatchback Civic, like, completely together. The space my body was left in was only a couple inches. They didn't know like how I made it. Everyone at the scene thought I was dead, but somehow God spared my life there, and I woke up in Calgary Hospital, and my parents were there and stuff. They they filled me on what happened. And after 10 days, we went back to Abbotsford. So my restart at life in Abbotsford didn't go quite as planned. I had to stay at home because I broke my femur. I couldn't start working again. And so yeah, I was sitting at home for a couple months. Boredom eventually set in. I wasn't doing anything different as far as my lifestyle other than not doing the drugs, and so eventually I started going out to clubs and stuff, and then started with the drug use again, and within a month or two I was back to where I started. This kept going for a couple of years. I kept my job up though. I had a normal life on the outside, but partied a lot. And then I got into painkillers, and that's when things just went really downhill fast. I started using OxyContin, and the first time I tried it, I just loved how it made me feel. It helped, got rid of my anxiety, and didn't have to worry about anything, and I loved it right away. And within about 3 months from the first time I used it, I was hooked, doing it every single day. And yeah, this kept going on for about 4 months, and then I went on a trip to Hawaii. It was 10 days long, and I was too afraid to bring pills onto the airplane because I didn't want to go to a US jail. I've heard all the horror stories and stuff, and I'm a little white kid, so the odds are stacked against me, so I wasn't down with that. So I went to Hawaii. I was clean for 10 days, sober as a bird, and I was like, boom, got this. And it was the start of a new year too. It was 2011, and I was like, this is the perfect way to start the new year. Completely clean. I'm sticking like this for at least a year. The day I got back from Hawaii, I think it took until lunchtime until I bought more drugs and was doing everything again. So I made it 6 hours. I'm not sure if that's good, but yeah, then right back to it. So my New Year's resolution didn't work out so well. From that point on, it was every single day until I left for Teen Challenge. I wasn't making enough money from my 9-to-5 job to pay for the drugs, so I started doing crimes, doing fraud-related crimes to pay for it. And I made quite a lot of money doing that, so my use went up dramatically, and my habit was costing me about $200 a day on average. I somehow kept things good on the outside, but I was completely physically, emotionally addicted at that point. And it was getting scary, waking up, feeling sick from not having anything, doing sketchy things to get money, going to pick it up, and meanwhile lying to all the people around me so that I could just keep doing my thing and didn't have to deal with what was going on inside of me. Eventually, after about a year and a half of heavy use, I got arrested for what I was doing. The next morning, I woke up and I had nothing because the cops took my drugs and my money, and I was just horribly sick and just like in a really dark place emotionally, and I called out to God just out of pure having nothing else to do. I was like, God, I'm down here and it's pretty bad. If you can do anything, I'd love that. If you can't, understandable. Just thought I'd throw it out there for you. And so I tossed that up to him and said, that won't hurt any. Meanwhile, I I went upstairs and I told my parents that I was addicted to OxyContin, and that was the first time that I told anybody that. Even my close friends didn't know the amount I was using, and family, like, nobody knew. And I told them, and that's when things slowly started to change. I continued to use, but my parents were looking at different programs and stuff that I could go into, and I kept sloughing all of them off and making excuses not to go to anything. I tried like one program, but that wasn't happening. So yeah, it just was we made lots of failed attempts, and nothing was going on. One night, after a few months of this, my parents were like, "Do you wanna? There's a really good program, Teen Challenge, that I think you should go into. This guy will come here tonight and talk to you about it." So I was like, okay. So I quickly Googled Teen Challenge and saw that as a year-long program. Like, no, I'm not going away to some freak camp in the middle of nowhere for a year, chilling with a bunch of people I don't know, and putting my life on hold for a year. So I packed up my stuff right before this guy got here, went to a coffee shop, and stayed there until like midnight. I thought coast would be clear and this guy would be gone. Got home and he was gone, but my dad was there and he's really choked. And yeah, he's pretty mad, and he's like, "You don't have to go to this thing, but at least have the decency to hear this guy out." And so I was like, okay, just to get him off my back, I was like, I'll talk to him. So the next day, he came over and he was telling me about the program and stuff, and from that point something kind of started to change, like just a little bit, and I was hearing what he was saying, and it like seemed interesting to me, and I knew that if I was gonna change, like I just have to like go at something and just like jump with both feet. And so at the end of the conversation, he's like, "Would you be willing to go?" And like in my mind, I was saying no, but my mouth said yes. And and like, okay, good. And so yeah, I had to do all these tests and stuff, like medical tests, in order to go, and somehow got all those done. And to go into the program, I had to go to detox first, just because the amount I was using. And normally there is a couple month waiting period, but I called one day because you have to keep calling every day to check in, and she was like, "Call back in 15 minutes and something might change." I'm like, what's going to change in 15 minutes? But I think my little sister, somebody was in the room, I didn't want to look like a loser, and they heard the conversation, so I called back in 15 minutes just to look good on the outside, right? And the girl was like, "Yeah, you can come in tomorrow morning." And I was like, "Oh, awesome, okay, see you there." Yeah, so yeah, they got me in a corner, and I said yes. And the next morning, I did the rest of my drugs and was in a car with my dad on the way to Surrey to enter detox. Went to detox, it was really awful, I was really depressed, and just going through all the withdrawals was awful. Just in a really dark place still, and didn't have hope, but I somehow was there. God somehow got me there and opened enough doors that I was forced to go in them. And yeah, so I was there for 10 days. On my last day there, I had to do an intake interview to get into Teen Challenge. And so I called out there, did the interview, and then after, the intake coordinator was like, "Okay, you can," this was Saturday night, he's like, "You can come in on Monday." And I was like, "Awesome, okay, see you there." And so my parents came up the next day to pick me up, and I thought I was gonna get to chill in Abbotsford for a bit, see some old friends, just relax, hang out. I mean, I was going away for a year, so I thought that was the least that they could do. But I walked up to the car and saw my bags and stuff were in the back. I'm like, we're still stopping in Abbotsford, right? And they're like, no, we're gonna go right to Alberta. So yeah, I was off to straight from Surrey to Prentice, Alberta, and entered that Monday. And it was really weird at first. This place was kind of in the middle of nowhere, and it was late October, and there's snow everywhere. And I was like, man, this isn't a good look right here. But yeah, they dropped me off, and I walked in, and everybody's like, hey, brother, blessings, brother. Love you, man. Love you. Let's pray together. I'm like, whoa. Let's take it easy here, buddy. I just got here to get to know me first. Like, please. Yeah, these guys were no joke. They got right into it, and at first I was just like kind of put off, like, man, this is weird, but as I got to know them, I realized that, man, these guys were like sane, just like I was. Some of them like in worse situations, doing like bad stuff, and they like were changed, but they were still like who they were as far as like personality. Still talk the same stuff, but they were like different. There's like a light in their eyes, and I wanted that, and so eventually, after a month of being there, I started talking to God a little bit, and I was like, "All right, let's give this a shot." And I rededicated my life to God. I was like, "Yo, like let's do this." And from then on, it was just learning more about Him. Nothing happened magically or fast. I always hear these like miracle stories of people becoming Christians, and they like just like feel good, and like they have like awesome outlook on everything, and they're changed. That wasn't the case at all for me. I was like didn't change very much at all at first, but slowly as I began to like let God more into my life, I just started to slowly change, and I started to read the Bible. And it blew me away. Like, I had heard about it in Sunday school and stuff, but when I started, I think I was reading Mark, and I was like, man, has anybody read this? Like, there's some crazy stories in here. Like, this is really crazy. And I'm like, have you read this? And they're like, yeah, we work at a Christian-based rehab facility. We read the Bible. Know the gospel. And I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, like, this Jesus guy, like, wow, he's awesome. And I just, from that point on, I wanted to know Jesus more, and I started to know Him well. Like, I, like, put in a lot of work trying to learn about Him, too. Like, it wasn't, like, I rubbed some magic genie bottle, and I just, like, had this relationship with Him. I wanted to know more about Him. Like, I wanted to have a deep relationship with Him, and so I just started learning more about Him, just reading and started praying like a lot. And as I did that, these things started to slowly change, and I got a really awesome relationship with Jesus. And in March, I got baptized in Calgary, and my family came out and they did an altar call, and my little sister came up, which was crazy. So me and her got baptized, which me getting baptized was a day that my parents thought would never happen. And then seeing both of us is just, it was awesome. Teen Challenge it changed my life completely. I met a lot of awesome people there, and like the teaching and everything, talking a lot, but just like living with other guys that are trying to do the same thing as you, and they say iron sharpens iron, and that couldn't be more true, but just, living with those guys and going through hardships and going through good times, it changed my life. So yeah, Teen Challenge is awesome. In September, I was starting to get like low on breath like pretty easily, and I would run every day at a Teen Challenge, and I started to get out of breath quicker, not be able to go as far. And the guy that I always ran with, he was like, "What are you doing? Like, stop being a girl. Like, get up, let's go." And I was like, "No, man, seriously, something's wrong. Like, I'm not just like lazy. Like, something's weird." And he's like, "Okay, stop complaining. Get up, let's go." I'm like, "Man, like, I think something's going on here." And he's just like, "Okay, let's go." And I would like go up the stairs, and my heart would just be like racing. And I was like, "Okay, this isn't normal." And it got worse and worse. So one day I went into a walk-in clinic, and the walk-in doctor was like, "Hey, I'm not sure what's going on, so you should go get a blood test." So went and got a blood test. Went back to the center, and I was doing the dishes, and they called me in to the office, or to the duty desk, and they were like, "Yeah, you got a call." I answered the phone, and it was the doctor from the walk-in clinic, and she was like, "You need to come in, and you need to go to emergency." And I was like, "Okay." I wasn't like scared, and I was honestly excited to get out of the ranch, because like, you can't leave at all when you're in the program, and so any chance that you get to get off property is like awesome. And so I was just so excited, and she was like, "You might need an overnight bag," and that was just like a plus. I was like, "Yes, yes." And so I packed my bag like with some stuff, some snack bars and juice boxes, and went to the emergency, just stoked, having a good time, like just knocking at the center, and they did some more blood tests, like, "Hey, not sure what's wrong." After a couple hours, this nurse, which she was probably like just graduated, she was really young, and you could tell she was new at this. She came and sat on the bed, and she put her her hand on my leg, and she's like, "Yeah, so, geez, I don't really know how to tell you this. Okay, yeah. So we looked at your blood and stuff, and that's, yeah, you probably have leukemia." And I was like, "What? Is that like Chinese for good lucky or something?" Like, what are we talking about here? And she's like, "Yeah, no, that's cancer, buddy." That's like, she didn't say buddy. But I was like, "Okay." Wow. And yeah, just kind of like shocked. Like, it was just weird. I didn't like freak out or anything. I was just like kind of like in awe. Like, geez, like that's crazy. So yeah, from that point, that was September 13th. It was a Friday the 13th. Strange things were happening, I'll tell you that much. They transferred me from the hospital in South Calgary to the main hospital. Like right from the get-go, they started taking all this blood and stuff, and still didn't really sink in. I was still honestly happily knocking the center, even after finding out about all stuff. Like, I got TV, which you don't have in the center, and I hadn't watched for 10 months. Like, this is good. Like, I can live with the leukemia part as long as I have TV. It's much more shit as I want, so that's the deal. Yeah, I called my parents, told them about it. They were pretty upset. They did a bone marrow biopsy. They confirmed that I had leukemia, and so I was there until the 15th, and that was Sunday. And I was able, because all my family was out here, they were able to transfer me to BC's Leukemia Center. And Sunday, I flew back here again, playing cool, so I was like, another plus, I don't get the center, had a good little ride there. Back to here, and yeah, I was really confident. I was like, yeah, I can, I'll beat this, and in a month or two, I'll be good. I remember talking to the other guys in the program that came to the hospital visiting me before I left, and we were just talking about it. I was like, yeah, no big deal. I got this. I'll take care of this. Just sounds better in my testimony. Another story, blah blah blah. But yeah, I was really confident in myself, and I was just like, yeah, no biggie. Then I got to Vancouver, was in the hospital there, and still things were good. I had a really good outlook, and really just relying on God, focusing on Jesus, and everything. Yeah, it was kosher. It was all good. I was maybe naive a little bit, and naive/confident, and was in the hospital for about 3 weeks. Did the first round of chemo. God blessed me enough to not have a lot of negative side effects, and I felt really good. And then they got the test back from the first round of chemo, and the doctor came in, and it's really awful. I hope none of you have to talk to doctors in this context, but he came in, sat down, and just said the first round was unsuccessful, and that sucked because your chances are the best the first round. They give you the best medicine first, and it didn't work. And the doctor came in, it's just such a bad vibe in the room, and everybody's upset, and I was choked. Things got real for me then. The whole time I was like, yeah, this first round will be good, and then I'll bounce out of this hospital, and it's all breezy, and it didn't work, and I was like, man, that sucks. And my cockiness kind of went away at that point. I was just okay, I have no control over this. There's nothing I can do. I can say, I'll beat this, I'll take care of this, I got this, but there's nothing I can do with it. And there's nothing any of us can do about situations like this. At that point, I was like, yeah, I'm in God's hands. People always fully rely on God. I'm like, yeah, that's all I can do. That's my only option here. And so from that point on, I was just man, God, I need you right now. I'm freaking out. I'm dying here, literally, and bro, do something. And yeah, it was a reality check from that point. So they did after that they decided to do another round of chemo with stronger drugs, and they did that, and same thing again. I got a few side effects, but again, nothing serious. I didn't puke once through all this, and God's been good enough to help me deal with the chemo and everything really well. And so they did the second round, and from that point on, I was really had some really hard times where I was thinking about death and stuff. And a 25-year-old guy, I'd never thought about dying before. I was always safe. I valued my life. I didn't drive fast and stuff or do anything that crazy. And so it was weird for me to think about dying. And after going through that second round, I just started thinking about dying and actual what it would be and just crying out to God yo man, I don't want to die. I'm good with it. Like I know where I'm going, but like I don't want that. And yeah, utterly helpless. But I have the hope of God and my relationship with Jesus. And on those really hard nights, they would give me like Ativan and stuff where I was like freaking out. And like that didn't do anything, like nothing, like the hospital gave me health, but when I prayed to Jesus, like, man, this is what's going on. I'm just freaking out right now, like, please help me, like that works. Like they could give me everything and it just my body didn't respond to it. But when I would pray and like ask God, like it would work. And it was just crazy seeing that, and yeah, I just was fully relying on God. He was my hope. So the second round was finished, and same thing. There's a couple weeks after the chemo that I had to wait for results. That was pretty good. I was able to keep my mind off it quite a bit, but still it was on the back of my mind. And I've had, most of the time it was good, but I have days where I'd like think about dying, like have dreams about dying, and it just like tripped me out. I was like, man, this is messed up. But I was able to keep things pretty normal. We went into the hospital in, I think, November 13th or 14th to get the results back. And this was like the make it or break it round. Like, after this round of chemo, they're like, yeah, so if this round doesn't work, like, you're pretty much like out of luck. So like everything was riding on this, and so I was like, geez, like God, like please, like, please have this work. Like let's I've changed. Like I'm doing good. Like I changed my life even before this happened. Like I'm not just talking to you now because I'm desperate. Like please help this work. And went in, got the results, and the doctor was like, same thing, sit in your room, and they're like, yeah, so it didn't work. And I was like, oh man, like, give me a break here. And yeah, so the second round was like, that was it, like that, it was all right on that, and that didn't work, and so it's like, yeah, like, you're kind of out of luck. And so same thing now, like I'm in God's hands, and there's nothing I can do, just like all of you, that will help you or keep you from dying or doing anything. Like when you're gonna go, or when it's your time to go, you're gonna go, and you're not gonna like know or have a choice. You're just gonna die, and you'll either go to heaven or to hell. And I was just glad that I like knew where I was going, and still today, like I'm glad I know where I'm going. I'm glad I have my friend Jesus, who's standing right here, that's beside me all the time, because I am as an individual really weak, but he's really strong, and he's got me through the tough times. He was there when I was putting all sorts of junk up my nose and partying, and at my darkest times, he was sitting beside me on the couch, just watching, not liking it, but he was still there. He was there when I was in detox and my car accident, like he was chilling right beside me. And he's here now. He was here in the hospital, and he's still standing right here. And that's really cool to me, is having somebody, not just like, you know, like it's good having a friend that's like pretty solid, that you can hang out with a bunch and stuff, but having like a best friend who like created the world, like that's like even better. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity at Teen Challenge to get to know this guy. Because without him, I don't know what I'd be like right now. I'd be just losing it, mentally and everything. But I got to know Jesus, and he changed me like crazy. Like a year ago, if all this would have happened, it would have been bad, like a bad look, like for sure. It would be no good. But I got to know him at Teen Challenge, and it's like, man, like I don't have words to describe like how lucky I am to know him and to have him on my side. And like the song said earlier, he's never failed, he won't start now, and he'll never bounce out or like leave or be like, yeah, I'm busy right now, or like slough me off or anything. Like he's down, like he'll be here like for like good beside me chilling. And same with all of you, like whether you have a relationship with him, that's up to you, but like just know that like Jesus is chilling beside you like all the time. And it's up to us, like it's our choice whether we want to know this guy or not. Like it's up to you, like, but as far as I'm concerned, like I wanted to know him and I got to know him, and yeah, I don't know what the future holds now. I mean, the outlook's not looking good as far as like medically. They don't really have much else they can do, so the clock's kind of just ticking. But yeah, I still pray to God for a miracle, and I pray to him for healing. Like, people are like, do you still pray for healing? And I'm like, yeah, every day. And like, I haven't been like, okay, that's enough. Like, I'm down with just going here. So yeah, I still pray for that. And yeah, sometimes like it's frustrating. And I talk to God, I'm like, yo, bro, like you're really taking me off. Like, this is enough. Like, seriously. And there's good times where I'm just like, man, like, thank you. Most of the times are good, but yeah, there's been a lot of times when I've questioned him, and there's stuff I won't know until I see him. But yeah, he's been faithful to me. So I would just challenge all of you to really get to know Jesus. I mean, it's not like a magic genie. You can't just like pray one time, it's like, God, I want to know you. I want to have a deep relationship with you. And you'll wake up and you'll have this. Like, it takes work, and if you put in work and you look for him, he'll reveal himself to you. Like, he'll show you like himself, and like you'll like get a deep relationship with him. And I got that. And I'm just like, man, like I got it made in the shade. Like, it's all good, like because of him. And I just encourage you to get to know this guy. Like, whether you read Mark or something like easy, and like if it's cool to you, and like then like read more and learn about him. And if you think it's whatever, then that's up to you. But yeah, you don't know when you're gonna die. I hope not, but any of us could die on the way home from here. So don't like wait around for time to like go by. Like, look it up like tonight if you want to. Like, find more with Jesus like now on your smartphone or something. Just like don't wait, because you have no control over your future, and we're not promised tomorrow at all. So yeah, find more about my bro Jesus, and again, thank you for all your support. You guys are awesome. I love all of you guys, and thank you Teen Challenge, and thank you God.